Thank you very much for coming. Yeah. So for many, many years, we've been hearing in the UAE about this and that blockchain initiative. And for many, many years, the UAE was going to be the center of crypto. It was just right around the corner. It's been now, I think the first one we ever heard was like a decade ago now. There was a blockchain initiative in the Dubai government. And so we're going to do a little progress check today with our guests here on access to Bitcoin among the UAE population and where we're standing. So I guess first we can give some introductions. That would make sense. So I have on the far end Ben, and he's the founder and CEO of the wonderful Bybit, very successful Bybit. We have Charmaine here, who is the head of VIP client services at HTX, formerly Huobi, correct? And myself, I've spent the better part of the last decade working on building exchanges, much of that in the UAE. In 2014, actually, very briefly, I worked at the first ever exchange in the UAE, which was much forgotten, called IGOT. I think that one collapsed mid-2015 via some hack or something that I had nothing to do with. I spent then 8 years at Kraken, including at Kraken MENA subsidiary, which was the first overtly regulated exchange of the UAE. Okay, so let's begin. We've been hearing for many decades, for many years now, about the UAE's progress and where it was going. So, from the perspective of like the average resident of the UAE, what difficulties remain, and how does it look from the perspective of these people in terms of accessing Bitcoin? How many the hoops they need to jump through, the accessibility from with UAE bank accounts and the like. Can you give like kind of a status update of where it stands for the average UAE resident?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I think the UAE has progressed remarkably from more than 10 years ago. I've been living in this region for 17 years. So that's when even, this area of business did not even exist at that point in time, right? Or was more sort of an underground operation, I would say. Yeah, but for me as a person who had been using certain platforms, and like you said that there was a platform that was created like a decade ago. I had also used one of those platforms and actually had successfully did fiat on-ramp at that time and bought like Bitcoin and certain cryptos. So my experience with this region is that it had been very open in this area for a very long time, and even before many of the other regions started its operations on this. So for me, right now, I would say that with the regulations in place and the framework in place, and a lot of the companies being set up here, especially OTC trading companies in, say, the MCC, I think it's safer now for a lot of people to buy Bitcoin. Is easier. However, I think the challenge has always been the support, right? The banking relations. So you can open a bank account easily if you're a resident here. However, to be able to on-ramp, right, or even off-ramp fiat to the bank accounts, that's somewhat still a challenge for many of us. Yeah.
And your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, so from our perspective, I think definitely over the past 2 years, UAE has kind of become the crypto hub for at least people in the industry. So there's a lot of industry players, project, exchange, influencers, all kind of living in Dubai. And I think in a way that Abu Dhabi is trying to now also attract more crypto industry people since we're here. I think you can see a healthy competition within the country. And of course, a healthy competition between UAE and other regulations. From our perspective, we got the VARA license. It took us a little more than 2 years. We hope it could be faster, but in comparison to other regulators, it's on par. I wouldn't say it's fast, but I wouldn't say it's the slowest. We had slower guys in comparison. But in terms of people adopting the crypto, I think we need to break UAE into local and international people living here. I think for the international people, it's very vibrant, and people are in and out use crypto a lot. And I think for locals, the fiat on and off ramp is not really available yet. Even with we have the license, nobody really offers on a massive scale connect to the banks, at least the mainstream banks. So you can see that there isn't that on and off ramps through the banks yet. But however, the OTC liquidity here is good. I talked to like people from other countries. They will fly into UAE to get the OTC in US dollar or euros. So it's definitely becoming a hub. But on the local level, I think we can definitely do more penetration. So hopefully through the license, more banks are opened. I think that possibility is open. And also with high hopes that we're here in Abu Dhabi, we're hoping maybe the central bank, SCAR, and all these federal level government can really support. Because now what we see is really just the economic zones. ADGM, VARA, these are just economic zones, right? A license within the economic zones doesn't really influence on a whole country level. So we're hoping to see more influence through the central government. And I think with that, definitely it's going to be a wider adoption here. But I think it's definitely on the right track. And you know, we love to call UAE our home. It's our headquarters here. And, you know, we have over 300 people in Dubai, so we're really happy here and with the local support. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome to see the growth of the region and all these companies moving here. Very bullish. But it sounds like, and this is something we've been hearing for a decade, is that the banking system here is very conservative and slow moving. Do you see any signs of that changing or any progress in that? Or what, and maybe you can say like what exactly from the perspective of somebody who's not in the exchange business day to day, what exactly are the banks telling you is the reason for their hesitation in terms of kind of delaying a full embrace of the industry?
I'll go first. Yeah, so I think the UAE model is good. They let the economic zone start testing things first, you know, like VARA, like HGM. I think just like any central bank, they'll probably have many concerns towards uncertainty. But I think we have been talking to the central bank to see how do we help, how can we move this along. So I think definitely the access to the banks will gradually open, maybe initially through digital bank first, like Zand and all these guys, and then gradually probably moving towards mainstream banks. But I think it's not only a challenge for the UAE. We've seen that with any country that the regulator, as long as it's not the central bank themselves, the banking is always the biggest hurdle. That's happening in Kazakhstan. That's happening in probably in many jurisdictions we've seen. Another example is we're also in Georgia, but the regulator is the central bank. So the moment we get licenses, immediately banks are all open. So that's the difference of positioning things. Is how do you view crypto? Do you view it as a currency? Do you view it as security? As well as here, I think it's started being a kind of a security first. But I think the banks here are getting more ready for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Ben said about having the central bank institute this so that the banking sector is also comfortable with acceptance of opening crypto-friendly accounts for members and residents of UAE. So I do feel that I think although we have ADGM and VARA that has established a pretty good framework, and I believe you are part of establishing that very first framework with digital assets, it's still evolving and it's still a very complex framework. I think it's evolving throughout different regions of the world. So I do believe that as we kind of move forward with this, the central bank's involvement in it and, more initiatives to push it forward, and also a little bit more public awareness and campaigns that comes along with this, perhaps then we can push things forward once they feel that the population or the users are actually quite are ready for it, because it opens up like a whole new gateway, right, and access to digital assets, which perhaps many people still very uncomfortable with, uncertain about, and they're worried. They're worried for the safety and and investments of the users themselves. So I guess for us to really move forward, we do really need the buy-in from all the way up top.
And so one thing that's unique in the UAE is kind of the structure of the government and the regulators. When of course you have the federal government with the central bank and ESCA, you have the emirate level with VARA and the free zone level with now they have Ras Al Khaimah Digital Oasis and ADGM's crypto regulations and DMCC and DIFC all doing their own rule set that kind of touches on the industry. So one thing that not even just in the crypto industry, but especially in this industry, that we hear from people who are exploring to come to build businesses here is, what do I choose? What jurisdiction should I base my company in? And how do these interact? So, from you guys are both pursuing the VARA regulations, and can you just give a brief kind of high-level summary of why you chose VARA and how you think that this ultimately might play out as far as the various regulatory levels in the country?
Yeah, so for HTX, we landed out here in Dubai. And at that point in time, I think there was the ADGM framework already in place. So I think the one key reason why we selected Dubai is because it's such an international hub already, right? You have, it's a very cosmopolitan city. We feel that a lot of people are more ready to accept, the crypto world and assets as such. And so for a regulatory standpoint, we feel that VARA is also very friendly. Their framework is evolving. We look at it and we made an assessment, and we felt that this is something which, or the regulations and framework is actually very, I would say, beneficial for an exchange. And they do cover a whole host of services, right? Not only an exchange, brokerage services, and also asset management of all the digital assets. So looking at all the various aspects that they cover and the scope that they cover, we decided that this is really a good area to start with. And we don't limit ourselves with just one, regulatory compliance. On our part, we continue to improve and enhance and move forward with selecting and getting into, partnership with more of these regulatory authorities as we move forward. But I think Dubai has always been a great base for us as a very international hub.
And Ben?
Yeah, I think initially how we started with VARA was we got invited here into Dubai, and then they were very open about they want Bybit here, and that was 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. That at the time they were telling us that they want to set UAE and specific Dubai as a crypto hub. Back then it wasn't really. It was still, I think, most people focus when they talk about crypto hub, they were thinking about Singapore, right? But when we came, we saw the government was really welcoming and give us a lot of support on pointing to who to talk to, who to say. So for Bybit, it was quite natural that we want to work with a regulator that's welcoming us. And then at the time, Dubai was telling us that they want us to move the headquarters there. So that they want that PR and they want an announcement, and they welcome Bybit as a headquarters there. So it was quite empowering, and for us to make that decision, because at the time it was also all those other regulators. They have the framework, but when you go, it's not so clear, and you don't know what you can do, what you cannot do. So at the time, VARA offered even derivatives. For us, derivatives quite crucial. So it was an easy decision. At the same time, we did talk to ADGM. So I think in UAE, you just basically have these two for now. ADGM was more for, I think, fund and fund management company. It wasn't. We haven't seen any other exchange players there yet. And this is why I think similar. I think we move along with Vara. Eventually, now we have the license. I think the whole process, it was a good decision. And now looking back, Dubai is really kind of the crypto hub. So it was. I think it was a good call. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, yeah, it's fast becoming perhaps like one of the, if not the major crypto hub of the world. And of course, there are a lot of people with that helped that become the case and had the vision many years back. But moving forward, just respectfully, high level, what do you think the country can do at, I mean, the emirate level and the federal level to kind of make sure that it happens, it stays here, that, and for the coming decades that UAE benefits the most that it can from this industry? And where do you kind of, how do you see it ultimately going? How does Bitcoin and crypto, what role will it play in the local economy here?
I think we are extremely optimistic. I mean, UAE already have all the global players. If you look at the exchange, you look at the project side, you look at the ecosystem side, literally you have all the players here. So with all the talents already here, whether it's in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, and I think now with Abu Dhabi paying a more focus on this industry, a lot of industry players are extending their influence simply from Dubai into Abu Dhabi and maybe the whole region. So I think with that, there's a lot of innovation can happen, not only focusing on crypto as a currency, maybe about how do we have some real-life cases, RWA, even incorporate into security and other areas. I think this is something the leaders here are exploring. I think from what we've been talking to even the leaders here in Abu Dhabi, I think innovation and how to use this technology to innovate and start to lead is really a key focus in the whole region. So we're happy to be here and we want to support. And we're quite positive about that. Yeah.
Yeah, likewise, we're very positive and we're here to stay. And when I look at the adoption, UAE has already one of the highest transactions in terms of volume, right, in crypto. So what I look forward to is a little bit more banking support. So if that infrastructure is already in place, we can then implement it into, say, everyday life. So if, let's say, we implement crypto payments to utilities, right? So every other person can actually literally use crypto, Bitcoin, for transaction. So that brings that element of like immediate adoption because there is accessibility and acceptance for Bitcoin and any other tokens. Right, so I think that is very important for us to move forward with the adoption. And the other point that I mentioned earlier is also public awareness. I think the campaign has to be run to help the public be more aware of how they can secure, purchase, and store these assets, right? So it's like when banking started to go online, or when we stopped using going to the teller, we use card to withdraw from ATMs and use cards to do payments. There were like a lot of campaigns surrounding the security of cards and usage and how you should protect your password. So I think those kind of campaign for the public is also very important for us to continue mass adoption across this region.
Very good, yeah. The UAE, of course, is like the per capita global leader for currency exchange, remittance, and the like. And so it sounds like, I believe that all the pieces are in place for the UAE to be the global leader, maybe the per capita leader for this industry as well. And it sounds like the takeaway from the panel is here in our last 30 seconds that that the main thing, the final step is adoption from the banking industry and acceptance of all these many dozens of new innovative firms that are here. Yeah, so very, very bullish outlook for this country and in this industry, and the economic impact. This is me speaking. I mean, the economic impact could be unfathomably huge. So we all look forward to the inevitable, incredible future here in the United Arab Emirates. Wonderful place. So thank you to our guests and to the conference organizers. It's been a wonderful event.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is your company ready for the next evolution in financial strategy? Bitcoin for Corporations is your partner in securing the future of your business. With exclusive membership benefits, our comprehensive masterclass, and a network of trusted service providers, we provide the insights and resources to help you incorporate Bitcoin into your financial strategy, ensuring stability and long-term value. Strengthen your business. Innovate with confidence. Bitcoin for Corporations, protecting your treasury and positioning you for the future.